Assalamu alaikum guys. I'm just making this short recording for all of you so that you can get clarity in understanding the mistakes that you have done in your test week. So let's start. MCQs first. Which carbohydrate gives a brick red color when boiled with Benedict solution? So of course it's fructose because that's the reducing sugar and the rest are not. Which two polysaccharides both have 1,6 glycosidic bonds and they are branched? So the answer to this is B. We all know this is a very easy MCQ, amylopectin and glycogen. Which two molecules combine to form a molecule of sucrose? So of course the answer is A. This is alpha glucose and this is beta fructose, and these two combine to form sucrose. So the answer is A. Which diagrams show the release of water molecule during the formation of a glycosidic bond? So glycosidic bonds are being formed in all three. This one also, this one and this one, and there is a release of water. So the answer is A. The molecules that have a C double bond O in their structural formula, of course, amino acids and fatty acids and proteins, but not glycerol. So the answer is B. Primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary all determine the specificity of the enzyme. The way amino acids are arranged in a particular sequence determines how this polypeptide chain will fold into a secondary structure and tertiary, and also quaternary structure determines the specificity of the enzymes, because there can be enzymes which can be made up of more than one polypeptide chain. This was discussed in the class. Okay, now this MCQ number 7, the answer is C. I don't think this question needs any explanation. It's very obvious that the Y is the reaction time, Y is the reaction with the enzyme. Okay, this Y means that this dotted line and this dotted line is here. So this is the reaction with enzyme, and W is the difference in the activation energy. W is the difference in the activation energy. This shows you that the activation energy is lowered, right? And W is the difference in activation energy. If there was no enzyme, this would have been the total amount of the energy that is needed to start the reaction, and the enzyme has lowered it to this much, and the difference in the activation energy is W. So the answer for MCQ number 7 is C. A non-competitive inhibitor does not bind to the active site. A non-competitive inhibitor binds to a site other than the active site, which can be an allosteric. A non-competitive inhibitor does not affect the affinity of the enzyme for the substrate. These are all concepts you guys already knew. And that is why we say that the non-competitive inhibitor does not have any effect on Km, but it remarkably and significantly reduces the product formation, which is Vmax. So the answer to MCQ number 8 is A. And now MCQ number 9. So for this, I'm sharing this screenshot with you. Now, if we look at this reaction, we've got two test tubes, right? We've got test tube X and we've got test tube Y. Now, you have to remember that as the time is progressing, okay, I repeat, as the time is progressing, there will be less and less substrate and more product. So it would not be wrong to say that at the start of this time there is more substrate, and as the time is ending there is more product. So in the beginning you will be looking at the absorbance of the substrate, and in the end it's actually the absorbance of the product. You have to remember this. Acha. And the reason for this is that as time is passing, the concept underlying this is that more substrates are converted into products per unit time, right? Keeping this in mind, if we look at option A, it says substrate in test tube X has a higher absorbance than the product. That's not true, because if you look at test tube X, initially you will have substrate and after a certain time it will be the product. So what you can see as an absorbance rate plotted at this point is actually the absorbance rate of the product and not the substrate. So saying that the substrate in test tube X has a higher absorbance than the product, it's wrong. It's the other way around. Okay, now the product in test tube Y has a lower absorbance rate than the substrate. Let's look at test tube Y. In test tube Y, we can see that, this is what's happening to the product. In test tube A, the product was increasing. In test tube Y, the product is decreasing. So it's true that the product in test tube Y has a lower absorbance than the substrate. If we consider this as the product, because this is the part where the reaction is ending, and if we look at the absorbance of the product, it's less. So the product in test tube Y has a lower absorbance than the substrate, and then these two are completely wrong, because it says that the rate of reaction in test tube X increase with time, rate of reaction in test tube Y increase with time. So the rate is highest at the start for both. It's high, right? At the start for both. You can have a look over here. And it's actually decreasing with time. Okay, so now let's move on to the last MCQ. This is the reaction which shows you that lipase is actually breaking down lipids. So when lipase will break down lipids, it will break it down into glycerol and fatty acids. As the reaction proceeds, the pH will be lowered because of formation of fatty acids, which is hydrolysis of triglyceride taking place. So those fatty acids will not only lower the pH, but it might also denature the enzyme. So the answer to this question, which is the last one, MCQ number 10, is C. This is the answer, which is 1 and 3. This is correct and this is also correct. But pH does not increase at all. Now moving on to this question where most of you lost marks. Now, as you all know, that CIE is sending scripts, to students, and you must have seen your O-level scripts as well. So especially we have seen that the marking for A-level students has been extremely strict, and although we are already very strict, but this time we made sure that you guys should come up with answers which are actually required by the examiner. So if I look at the mark scheme of this question, which you cannot see on my screen right now, but I have it in front of me. So it says, describe the structure of a collagen molecule and the structure of a collagen fiber. Now, one thing is for sure, that the examiner does not want the function of the collagen molecule and the function of a collagen fiber. So when you say that collagen is insoluble, collagen gives you tensile strength, these are also these are only the functional aspects of collagen. So the examiner is not interested in the functional aspects. He wants you to focus entirely on the structure of the collagen molecule and the structure of the collagen fiber. So guys, when I gave you my notes, it was very, very clearly mentioned over there what is the exact meaning of a collagen molecule and what do you mean by a collagen fiber. So let me go to the mark scheme and show you. Let's look at what a collagen molecule is. So 3 helical polypeptides or chains, right? Now, so this means in order to get 1 mark, you should mention 3 helical ke bajaye there can be an alternate word. Most of you haven't used that. Polypeptides / chains. If you get it, if you write this, you get a mark. Or if you simply write triple helix, you get a mark. This is 1 mark. Then the helical chains, now this is in brackets, so this means it's optional. You should write that those are tightly wound around each other. And many of you have written hydrogen bonds only, but you didn't write that those hydrogen bonds are in between the polypeptides or in between the chains. So if you haven't written this part, marks have not been given to you. Then the third point, every third amino acid is glycine. Many of you have written that it has the amino acid glycine, so I haven't given you a mark because you had to write down every third amino acid is glycine, right? Acha, now collagen fiber. A collagen fiber is actually what? If you have many cross links or covalent bonds, either you write down cross links or you write down covalent bonds in between molecules, that's a fiber. So many of you have written this much, but you did not write that they are found in between molecules, so you didn't get a mark. Fine. How are those molecules arranged? They are arranged in parallel, right? The molecules in the fiber or the fibril are staggered, and if these are, AVP stands for alternate valid points. So if anybody has mentioned the details of hydrogen bonds, that collagen fiber can be composed of collagen fibrils made of parallel collagen molecules, you can get a mark also. I don't think anybody has mentioned this. So that's why many of you lost marks. So that is it. And now we move on to the very easy part of the question, which is, let me go back to the question. Yes. So you were supposed to, in this question, identify the glycosidic bond, identify the R group, and also give the precise name of the monosaccharide, right? Which is labeled D. So it's very, very clear, guys, that this monosaccharide is alpha glucose. No doubt about it. This is your glycosidic bond, and this is your R group, this. And then the examiner said that you look at the instructions given by the examiner. On figure 2.1, draw a circle around the R group of hydroxylysine, label the circle with the letter R. So you had to be very, very careful in following the examiner's instructions. Also label the glycosidic bond with the letter G. So if anybody is not labeling it with the letter G, he also loses a mark. It was very sad and disappointing to see that some of you guys still are not clear about what an R group is. You can see, guys, that these are the constant features of the molecule. So of course this entire thing has to be the R group. There are some students who put a circle around this, there are some who have put a circle only around this, and there are some also who put a circle around this, which is very disappointing to see. Okay, and then suggest how a named tissue or structure is affected in a person who has this disease. So okay, I think this was not a question. Yeah. This equation was very simple. Triglyceride plus water gives you fatty acid and glycerol, and then you had to do this. I think these are some extra things, right? So this question was not a part of your exam paper. And then you had the graph, I think so. So this graph shows you the researchers investigated the effect of pH values between pH 2 and pH 10.5 on the activity of bacterial lipase in hydrolyzing triglyceride at a temperature of 37 degrees Celsius. So the best part of this question was that you had to describe the effect of pH on the activity of bacterial lipase, and for description 4 marks were given so that you can describe what you see in the graph. Many of the students have explained this graph, talking about active sites, talking about the denaturation and things like that, which it was not needed. So that's why I've cancelled that part. Cancellation does not mean that I'm cutting marks, but of course when you are putting more stress on explanation, then you will be definitely missing out on points concerning description. So that's why you lose marks. So let me show you the mark scheme for this. This is the mark scheme, and I think most of you did this question pretty much well. So I will share the mark scheme with you. I'm not reading out each and every mark point. And then there was a last question in which I think the advantage was asked about using an immobilized enzyme. So these are the various kinds of advantages. Too many advantages. I think 90%, more than 90% of you have got this correct. But anybody who has just written about the cost, that it is a cost-effective procedure, did not get a mark. So can be reused, can prevent the product is less contaminated, more stable over temperatures, more productive, less time consuming. Any of these could have given you a mark. So with that, I finish my recording. of the explanation about your test paper. So I hope you've understood it.